Hey gang, it's me, your Uncle Todd here, along with Sonny, and I want to welcome you to the first episode of my new series, Uncle Todd Watches TV. I'm going to look at the opening episode for season 4 of Stranger Things, one of my favorite shows. It's been out the last few years. After a brief recap of the last season, we get most of the episode is a catch-up on what everybody's doing. Elle is living in their new address in California, and she writes back and forth with Mike. And, of course, she's looking forward to spring break because Mike's going to fly down to visit. That's going to be good. Unfortunately, she is bullied in school. And she sadly does not have her powers back yet. But Will is someone she can count on to give her support in all these areas, along with Joyce. Joyce is working as a phone salesperson, selling what seems to be like Time Life books or encyclopedias, something like that. And she receives a mysterious package in the mail from Russia, the Russian doll inside. So she calls the show's resident conspiracy buff, Murray, and he tells her to break it open, and it contains a message that Sheriff Hopper is alive. Meanwhile, back in the regular town, the rest of the guys are in their freshman year of high school. And let me just say, this show is depressingly accurate on high school in the 80s, speaking as a survivor. They are, of course, nerds, except for Lucas, who has joined the basketball team. Sadly, he and Max have broken up. She's still dealing with the death of her brother from the last season and is becoming quite the recluse and outcast who doesn't seem to care much about anything. Mike and Dustin, they're still in the D&D, and they've joined a high school group run by a rather older high school senior. He's been senior a few times. He's yet to graduate. Named Eddie, who runs the Hellfire Club, their local D&D group. Lucas is dropping out. He's moving on towards being a popular kid in the basketball arena. Oddly enough, Mike's sister, Nancy, is not going to go to California to see Will's brother, Jonathan, who is her boyfriend. And Jonathan doesn't seem to want to go back to their old hometown to see her either. Lastly, we have Robin and Steve, who are still friends, and Steve is hilariously trying to help her with her love life. As for the spooky stuff, the show started with a flashback to 1979 when the Institute was still open, and we are introduced to an extremely violent child who kills a bunch of people at the Institute. Looking forward to seeing how that ties in with everything else. The monster from the Upside Down this time is more humanoid, and he talks. And his target in the opening episode is the head cheerleader. And so she, thinking she's going crazy because she keeps hearing voices, and there are flashbacks to trauma she suffered over her parents, goes Daddy, who is also the school's main supplier of marijuana. Although he does have some harder things which she asks for. And that's pretty much where everybody is in this episode. One of the humorous aspects of it was that since Lucas wasn't going to be part of the team, they had to find someone else. And they ended up getting Erica, his sister, who's only 11. And there's a funny little back and forth between her and Eddie before the game starts, in which he finally accepts her because she knows her stuff. And it led to the most interesting part of the episode for me, which was during the basketball game, they kept cutting back to the D&D campaign, and everything going on there was mirroring each other, right down to the deadline of, will they be able to destroy the monster they're fighting, and will the team win the basketball game? It was really funny and pretty suspenseful, too. And the film ends with, of course, a murder film. The episode, and well, it was an hour and 20, so almost film length, ends with the cheerleader being murdered by the new monster and Eddie being a witness to it. And it was gruesome. Reminiscent of Freddy Krueger in his first kill in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, with her being lifted up and all this damage being done to her, but you can't see anyone doing it. It's a good start to the new season. Really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing how things play out. I know Paul Reiser is going to be returning as his character, so that'll be interesting to see what he's up to. And to know what the heck's going on in Russia, what the new monster is, and if Eddie's going to become a part of the group or not. Well, I'll get back to you when I see a couple more episodes.